Good morning, sports fans. Today is Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. You're watching RateGame Live with your boy, Nick Mark George. It is a wonderful Thursday morning here, coming to you live in the old RateGame studio. And I think we're getting better at sound. I think it's starting to happen for us. Or consistently the things that are needed to bring the show to life are working the way they're supposed to. So, welcome. Thank you for those who are now in the chat. Oh, is that? I know, but were those like real sirens?
What?
Or did I just hear that in my ears?
I don't know what you heard.
There was no sirens?
There were.
Oh, okay. That was wild. Thought I just heard some phantom police and ambulance sirens, but they were in fact real, folks. So we have an action-packed show for you today, and we are off and running. This is the most segments that I've teed up ever, so we'll see how I do. Might have bit off more than we could chew here, but we'll certainly find out in short order. Before we do that, though, want to set the table and kick things off the same way we do every morning. I'm a creature of habit, folks. I like structure. I like routine. So let us do exactly that. Start off with a segment. It's called Were the Sports Good? Hashtag WTSG. Basically, what we do is take a look at the last 24 hours in the world of sports. And, pop it over here. The producer is still on her first cup of coffee, so we'll give her some grace as she slowly wakes up. We have the 24-hour snapshot in the world of sports, according to you guys who rate the games that you watch. And so what we do here is we take a look and we say, okay, how were they? How did we do last night? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it in between? And what's beautiful about that is it's you guys, it's the people on RateGame that are rating these games that determine this number out of 10. So looking at the last 24 hours, and we have a mixed bag. We have some, there we go. We have some sprinkle across the plane here. So 33 games played, 5 active leagues, 326 ratings, 634 on the platform. 6.42. Let's see who did what. Let's see which league was good. See our scatter plot here. We got more. I would say it's actually an even split between yellow and green, with yellow clocking the most, just in terms of volume. NHL was the only league to go green. So, yeah, super mediocre. NBA and the English Premier League, the two lowest in the 5s. That's pretty rare. Major League Baseball, right where it usually is. And Major League Soccer had a massive slate last night. So 6.5 for that, 8.2 for the NHL. 3 games going last night. One went to double overtime, so we'll certainly talk about that. NBA were 2 blowouts. Talk about that as well. And Major League Baseball and English Premier League, right smack dab in the middle. So, mixed night, mixed bag. 33 games, 5 leagues, 326 ratings. Somebody asks you if the sports were good, you can say, so. Así, as they say in Spanish. Or is it más o menos?
Yeah.
Más o menos. More or less. All right, so let's go back to our little rundown here. And we have a goals galore. Okay, so the Ducks were in action, as were the Dallas Stars. They are in the National Hockey League. They're playing their series. I believe the Dallas Stars were away playing the Minnesota Wild, and the Ducks were also away. So these are two teams coming on the road, two teams walking away with victories. And Dallas and the Wild was wild. I went to double OT. I have a little compilation here of the goals because there were so many, and TNT did a good job of just putting this together. It's basically a little minute straight, or wow, why is it so tiny? Maybe we get switch the here we go. What's that?
It's just not working on the side. It's from the side. I can't help you.
You can't help me?
Because you didn't set up media presentation the way it should have been set up.
Dallas crosses the line. Robertson in front. They score!
One.
In the slot. The pass intended for McCarron from Marcus Foligno. 2-on-1. Robertson with Duchesne. A shot. He scores! Jay Cottinger, #1 star in game.
Dallas lost the first game of the series too, I remember. Unexpectedly. Because I think they're heavily favored in this series. Wow. What a rip.
For the goal line, Duchesne rested in, dangling. Duchesne, he scores! Matt Duchesne. That's through the bid by Marcus Foligno. Here's Heiskanen. Winding out, collected.
Second overtime.
Back again for Heiskanen. Wrist shot taken, bended up.
Oh my gosh.
Out in front, Wyatt Johnston in the right place at the right time.
It's so deflating. If you're there for, what is it, probably like close to 4 hours real time, the emotions are high. It's probably standing most of that time, except for the period breaks. And you're watching 20-minute periods. So that's the second overtime. It's 80 minutes. That's like almost 93 minutes of hockey action in between like icing calls and stoppage and faceoffs and all that. But still, that's just brutal. So Dallas wins a marathon of a game, and we can go to Hockey Town, just see some takes here. And so they reclaim the series lead. Nice. 2-1. Hockey is, I think, faster than the NBA in terms of, maybe they have to accelerate it because they lost a couple weeks because of the Olympics. So they're probably playing, they probably have less off days in their playoff run. Wyatt Johnston's your player of the game. T. Clem, very, very active hockey rater. So I trust their opinion. The Wild were set up to carry some crazy momentum after that awesome penalty kill, but decided to pick up that silly delay of game instead. Man, I hate the Stars. Are they a hateable team? As a neutral, I kind of wanted 3 OT. Ollie, bro, you're a sicko. That would be an entire extra hockey game. After losing game 1, 6-1, this Dallas team has just looked completely different. Yeah, they got smoked in the opening game at home. They've come out with a new energy and just been a much better team, fought out a Wild win in double overtime, but I'm still confident in the Wild to win this series. Minnesota's a great team. I see this one going all 7 games and ending in an overtime win for the Wild. Okay, Jack. We'll come back to this one. Jack's making a prediction here. 7-game series. Wild win in OT. You heard it here first. Okay, so on the other side of the table for the NHL, we had the Anaheim Ducks. They went into Edmonton facing McJesus, and honestly, a ton of goals in this one too. We'll show you this one here, just because it was a. Was that? Oh, sorry. Show you this one. This was Anaheim going into Edmonton and walking away with the win. Shorthanded goal. But honestly, for me, the best thing to come out of this was Ben Afquack. They named him Ben Afquack. It's actually brilliant. So I think his entire job is just to bang the drum. And that is, I mean, it makes sense. The Anaheim Ducks, right? They got to have a mascot. Got to have Ben Afquack banging on the drum. He must have a sweet life. They probably have a nice little house for him. Probably gets fed really well. I wonder if he knows the Aflac duck. I wonder if it's the same one. No way, right? Definitely more than one TV duck out there. So Anaheim get the win, and they are up. I think they're also taking a series lead here against Edmonton. Nope, one apiece. Okay. So massive win for the Duck. Darth Plague, I love his takes. This guy is #1 fan. Every team that he roots for. We have massive win for the Ducks. They played a really great and were able to respond every time the Oilers scored. Anaheim had a 1-goal lead going into the third period, and they blew that lead again. But Cutter Gauthier was able to score with 5 minutes left, giving the Ducks a lead they wouldn't choke. Tied series going back to Anaheim. And I feel like Anaheim is hungry.
Is it good?
I don't know what happened.
Is it placed on it right?
Is it placed on it right? The actual microphone? Why? It doesn't sound good.
Yes, it's placed on.
Does it not look good? It doesn't sound good? I don't know if my sound is good or not.
It's fine.
Oh, okay. I think it's fine, actually. So the Anaheim Ducks are tied with the Edmonton Oilers, and looks to be a good series. The Oilers had opportunities, but in my opinion, luck was just not on their side. Seems like they got a lucky rebound. Sloppy game. I mean, a lot of goals, which is what you want to see. So goals galore indeed. That's tied 1 apiece. Dallas is up 2-1 versus Anaheim. So let's see here. Going to my New York Mets exercising a demon. So only a matter of time, folks. This is a law of averages. You cannot, in Major League Baseball, with the number of games that they play, go on forever and lose every single game, fortunately or unfortunately. In this case, I don't know. I don't know what's worse. The Mets winning, and now everybody focusing on the next biggest losing streak in baseball, which happens to be in our own division. The Philadelphia Phillies have lost 8 straight. And the fact that everybody now can come out of the woodwork and pile on and congratulate them for ending the streak. I noticed that the New York mayor didn't waste an opportunity to get on the old bandwagon here as soon as he saw the final. Let's see if I can tee this up. Here we go. Look at this. So funny. So quick. NYC mayor doesn't hesitate. Put it in the books, and this guy, who everybody said was responsible for the losing streak in the first place, because after he hugged Mr. and Mrs. Met is when their losing streak started. So sure he didn't I'm sure one of his staffers was like, hey, the Mets won. You should tweet about it immediately. So you look like the good guy. And you want to talk about exercising a demon? This is the graphic I had teed up. Look at that. That's not emblematic and symbolic of what just happened for the New York Mets. Luke Weaver, as the flames shoot above his back, that is a full exorcism right there on the field. That is like a demon leaving his body as the Mets are finally back in the win column. Just like an ultimate release. Evil be gone. So, yeah, see if they can string together some wins. That would be pretty sweet. That would be pretty sweet. Let's see what it sounded like.
1-2 from Weaver to Buxton. He struck him out, and the ball game is over.
Here's the scene.
And for the first time in more
Right
than
there.
2
The flames are
weeks,
going.
The Mets can shake hands. That insidious 12-game losing streak has finally come to an end.
Insidious indeed.
3-2. Mets.
Good. Good. I'm glad we can move on. We don't have to have any more New York Post back page covers meet the mess. Although they had a field day with that. All right. So in the other hockey games that were in action last night, even though it was not as fun, you had the Philadelphia Flyers absolutely handling the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're up 3-0. A commanding 3-0 lead against Sid Crosby, the not so kid anymore, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I feel like this is the biggest shock so far of the NHL playoffs. And I think the Flyer fans have to be super happy with the fact that these games haven't even really been close. It's just been like straight domination. So super funny last night. There was and I didn't even know this was a thing in hockey. So very similar in basketball where you can flop. You can basically act, and some are really good at making it seem like they actually got fouled. So the refs will call a foul. I'll focus on a team in the NBA that does this very, very well, exceptionally well, in the Oklahoma City Thunder, because something happened last night. But the equivalent in hockey, I guess, is called embellishment is the name. So they have a similar rule, similar penalty. If you fake it and the refs catch you faking it, seeing like, making it seem like you got hit and that, your opponent should be in the penalty box, you actually go into the penalty box. So by faking it, you actually are the one that gets penalized. So Sid Crosby got caught last night, like red-handed. It was extremely obvious. And there was just a hilarious. First of all, we got to see the embellishment. It was very much embellished. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is. Yes. Okay. All right. So here's Sid doing his best acting job.
Wow, stick came up and got him. Right in the lips there.
No, absolutely not. Come on now.
It looks like there may be a penalty. Francois Saint-Laurent looks like he's got it.
And Hathaway has a lot to say.
No way. He's like, come on.
Yeah, he's saying he dove, but it did look like the stick came up and clipped him. There's no question about that. Now, whether it inflicted as much pain.
So he's going what he seems like in the penalty box. He's like, come on, are you kidding me?
The stick did come up and catch Crosby.
The linesman's in conversation here. Bear the official.
I don't.
And the Oscar goes too. I mean,
Oh, wow, stick came up and got him.
not really though.
I think they're are they calling it? It looks like there may be a penalty. Francois Saint-Laurent looks like he's got it.
All right, so they review it. Sid goes in the penalty box and has this exchange with a Flyer fan, and this is so funny. Okay. So he's in the box. He's like serving his time. And here is the reaction of a Flyer fan who makes eye contact with Sid in the box. Watch her. Look at her. They both know. He's like, gotta try. So Sid gets a slap on the wrist in the penalty box. Penguins end up losing. It's kind of crazy. I thought he and the Penguins would put up much more of a fight than the Flyers, but it seems like the Flyers are just a wagon. So congrats to them. They're going to go for the sweep probably in 2 days, I would imagine. I know they don't play back-to-backs in hockey, so tomorrow night they might be going for the sweep, moving on to the next round. And we will maybe say goodbye to Sid in the playoffs, which would be crazy. Future Hall of Famer. At least he got those 2 back-to-backs when he did, him and Malkin. All right, so moving on. Sixth Man of the Year is an award that goes to the player in the NBA who is not a starter, but comes off the bench, is the first man off the bench. It's an award that is highly sought after. If you are somebody who's trying to make a name for yourself, and it's kind of it's a weird one because it's obviously not an award that you receive for being good enough to start. It's almost like you get an award for being the best guy who's not a starter consistently. But I would say the reputation that you get for winning this award from your colleagues, from the other players in the league, is a lot of respect. Like, I'm thinking about other people that have won this award, and they are by and large like some of like the more crafty, like Malcolm Brogdon, like people that are playing 2 ways. They can score and defend. You really need to be somebody who is not just like one dimensional. You need to be able to provide offense because you're essentially coming in to spell the starters, and you also need to be able to defend. Like, you need to be a Swiss Army knife. So to win this award is, I think, recognition of the fact that you are good at multiple things. You can just do anything that your coach needs coming off the bench as a sixth man. Not quite a starter, but certainly the next best option if a starter gets hurt or when the team needs somebody who's reliable, somebody who can come in and kind of bridge the gap when the starters are taking a rest. So one of the awards was already given out, Defensive Player of the Year. That went to Wemby, unanimous. We all know, covered that on the show. The next award, Sixth Man of the Year, went to his teammate, Keldon Johnson. So the Spurs, 2 for 2 in award season so far. They take down the Defensive Player of the Year. That goes to Wemby. And then they have Keldon Johnson, who wins Sixth Man of the Year. And we had a really cool reaction video from Keldon, who found out the news when he was with, it seems like, his parents. And he got a little emotional. God is so good. So cute to see him just like there on his little chair crying. And I guess his signature style or his signature outfit is to wear a cowboy hat. I didn't know this, but totally checks out. He plays in San Antonio. So when he went to go see his teammates after winning the award, they were all decked out in cowboy hats. Love that. Whoever's idea, that was brilliant. That is, I mean, the Spurs just have an incredible culture. They've always had top tier culture. It's a winning culture, and winning culture is always support each other. It's just tail of the tape. You know, they genuinely care. And it doesn't get more obvious than that. They're all wearing cowboy hats. Very cool. Congratulations to Keldon Johnson. All right. So last night, also some of the weirder baseball plays I've ever seen as a 35-year-old baseball watcher. So 10 years ago, maybe more, more than that, 20 years ago, Randy Johnson has a famous clip of him throwing a fastball that happens to just perfectly time and connect with a bird, and the bird explodes. We all know that famous clip. He was playing on the... No, you don't know that famous clip? Do you want to see that famous clip? Okay. Juicer wants to see Randy Johnson exploding a bird. Let's see if we can find it. Has to be on Twitter. I feel like Twitter is just like the greatest little library of, yeah, here we go, right away. So here he is winding up. He's going to throw this ball, and you'll see it's a very quick clip, but you'll see the bird come immediately into screen, and it just evaporates. Just like balls of, like a ball of feathers. Boom. Yeah. So that's just like one of the most insane coincidental things that'll ever happen. I would put this up there with that. What this play that happened last night, I caught like 3 different angles of it, just because I couldn't believe it. Here's what happened. Here's it live. This is Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners on the mound, pitching to, I don't know who, but of the Athletics.
Right back, and it is caught. No, it's in his shirt.
In his shirt.
Logan Gilbert wore that one.
In between the buttons on his shirt.
That was something that you will not see again.
You'll never see that again.
It went in his jersey at 108 miles an hour.
108 miles an hour.
He's trying to defend himself, and you can see it.
And it just caught the shirt perfectly in between his buttons. The chances of that happening, I don't even want to. It's infinitesimally small. There's another angle of it. That's just so. Here it is. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Oh my
What
God.
is that?
Who is that? Is that Cardi B?
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God.
Oh God, he's
What
like going to
is
protect
that?
himself. It's crazy. You don't even have time to react, and it goes right in there. All right, so that was like weird baseball number 1. Weird baseball number 2, and again, I don't know how many times this is going to happen in the history of the sport, but O'Neal Cruz hit a cruise missile in what seems to bounce off the top of the foul pole. So he hit it at the exact launch angle where when it lands or is on its descent, it bounces off the metal foul pole.
So Skip Schumacher trying to get that ground ball.
Drive to right field. If it's fair, it's way gone.
Did you see that?
Top of the foul pole. That's a cruise missile. A blast here in Texas.
Look at this.
Amongst relievers in the American League. So Skip Schumacher trying to get that ground ball.
Drive to right field. If it's fair, it's way
Think.
gone. It hits the top of the foul pole. That's
Insane.
a cruise missile.
A cruise missile. He's having an incredible season. 7th homer of the year. He is a super talented guy. All right, so a little bit of controversy. 2 NBA playoff games last night. The Pistons got their first home playoff win since 2008. Congratulations. They finally talk about exercising a demon. They exercised a little demon of their own. They beat the Magic handily. I think it was tied at halftime, and then the Magic just smoked them. And then there was the second game of the evening, which was the Phoenix Suns versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder are massive favorites to come out of the West and make a run at a back-to-back championship. So expected that this game was going to be a little bit lopsided, but the way in which the Oklahoma City Thunder play basketball, and I am certainly in this camp, is just not entertaining. Because what they do as an organization, it seems like everybody who plays for them is they do like what Sid was doing in hockey. The equivalent of that in basketball is flopping. They are professional floppers. This entire starting lineup, and it starts, unfortunately, with their best player. It starts with SGA, the reigning MVP. He is a master of baiting people into fouling him so that he can take free throws. Now, he's an incredible free throw shooter. He scores a lot of points. Most of those points on any given night will come from the foul line. It's part of this game. It's part of a strategy. It's modern NBA. So I don't blame him for leaning into this and becoming excellent at it, but it just doesn't make for good basketball. And what has happened, I think, because they're so good at tricking you into thinking that they're going to do a move, and that the refs now, I think, are conditioned to just blow the whistle. Every time they see this guy like flailing, and it's not just him, it's his teammates like Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, like the entire Oklahoma City Thunder team is shooting foul shots to win basketball games, essentially. And so last night was kind of like the crescendos, all of this like ticky-tacky stuff coming to a head, and Devin Booker just kind of snapped. And I think he had good reason to. So we'll show the plays in question here. Here's the first one. This is Devin Booker going for a shot. This was called a foul on Devin Booker.
Natural move. Okay. Where is the unnatural move there?
Are they saying Booker stuck the left arm out? Oklahoma City.
And now here's Shy.
Spinning, and what a move that time. It's as if he knew exactly when the arm was going to come in to reach in.
But is Devin Booker saying it's not that? Is that not the same thing I did? Devin Booker reacted to this exact play. Obviously, a little different circumstance because the starting point is different. But watch Book react. It's like, hold on a second.
He's like, wait a second.
I thought it was different. It looked like Gilgeous-Alexander was extending the ball when the reach.
Saying that's BS. That's BS. Okay, so same game, a little bit later. This is where it gets nutty. So he is, I think, driving and he loses control of the ball. He's trying to save it from going out of bounds. And he, not knowing, where the ball is going to go because he's looking forward. He's just like throwing it blindly behind his back. It hits an Oklahoma City Thunder player. I think it was Caruso, who then campaigns for Booker to get a technical, and it works.
Personal foul. The official pointed at Jay Will.
Super innocent.
They're just calling it on that. Booker was trying to save it, and because of how he...
So you see him saying, tee him up, tee him up.
Free throws on the other end from the personal foul. The official pointed...
Okay, so he's falling. He's not even looking. He just like threw it behind himself. Hit this guy accidentally. Totally incidental contact. Like, no, not malicious at all. This is like a totally natural move. When you're falling out of bounds, you try and save the ball. It's just like what you do as an athlete and a basketball player. So it hits him. So it's, still out of bounds. All good. Caruso comes in and is like, that's a technical foul. Excuse me. And Caruso comes in and is like, you got to tee him up, ref. He was trying to, I guess, injure him. I don't know.
At Jay Will, but they're just calling it on that. Booker was trying to save it, and they're just calling it on that. Booker
So you got to tee him up.
And
the ref's like, you know what?
How he saved the ball and it hit Jay Williams. They're calling it.
Why is that a
Williams are calling it technical on that. He was just trying to save the ball.
So super questionable refereeing last night, which causes this. I thought this was AI. I did not think this was
What was
real.
the explanation that you got?
I still haven't got one. It's definitely something that has to be looked into.
You know how they like dub over these post game pressers and they just like put in like with AI, you can just, make Booker say anything in what is like very similar to his voice, but you can almost tell that it's AI just because it's like very unnatural. This is what I thought this was a version of that at first because I didn't know he talks like this low and it's just like very matter of fact. And it's also pretty salacious.
I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech and, he ended up doing it. So that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight.
Called him out by name.
Through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible.
Similar thing for you on the offensive foul with Caruso where you didn't get an explanation there either?
Yeah, and then the very next play said unnatural shooting motion that hit Caruso, but Caruso's moving forward on that. And if that's unnatural shooting motion compared to what guys are doing to get fouls nowadays, like you can play them side by side and, I'll let you guys be the judge. Like pull the clips, run it back. I'm surprised this is happening on national TV in playoff games.
Look, how hard is that to play through?
It's hard. It just feels disrespectful. I know I haven't won a championship in this league, but I have been in it for 11 years now. So to get to this point, to be treated like that, for me to even be saying something out loud, it's bad.
Have you ever?
Yeah, I've never heard Devin Booker. I've never heard Devin, but he's, that's just not who he is as a person. He's not really vocal at all. He's kind of like one of those more quiet, like stoic superstars. Doesn't really have a big personality in that way. He's very like low key into himself. So for him to be this blatant in his statement, calling a ref out by name, I've never heard somebody do that in a post-game presser. He's absolutely going to get a massive fine. He's probably got like a $50,000 fine coming his way from Silver. You can't say that. You can't call a ref out like that by name. You can say, you'd still get fined even if you generalized the refereeing. But to call him out by name, that's a no-no. You can't do that. But also, I can totally understand why he did it. He's kind of reached the end. Most passionate Booker has been since he complained about double teams. Yeah. So there's one thing NBA players are passionate about. It's the refereeing. NBA is a massive problem with complaining. Every time you see Luka Doncic on the floor, he's got his hands up like this, chasing after a ref. And it's not just him. I think it's just the league in general. So we'll see what happens. Be following that. I'm curious to see how much money Book is going to have to open up in the checkbook. So he threw the book there. All right. So every Thursday on RateGame, we do a throwback called TBT Classics. Today, and the theme or the season of the throwback is super important. So we're in baseball right now, coming up with baseball games that are classic. Last time we did Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game for the Chicago Cubs. He was a rookie. Today, and so, that's an incredible performance. Today, similar, but a little bit different in the controversy surrounding this game. So the almost perfect call out here is the fact that this should have been a perfect game. This should have been, I think it was like at the time, because it was 2010, it was like the 19th or 20th perfect game in Major League Baseball history. There's only been, I think, 25 total. Don't quote me on that, but not a lot, right? Perfect game is absolutely spectacular. To have that on your resume is something that you'll be remembered forever because there's just so few guys who have ever done it. And there's no really rhyme or reason. Like, yes, great pitchers have thrown great games, but if you look at the ones that have thrown it, like Dallas Braden, Mark Burley, like you wouldn't say these guys are phenomenal pitchers. What I'm trying to say is anybody can do it. Sometimes you just go on the mound and it's your day. You need a couple of things to happen, like an incredible play in the outfield or the infield. But the way that this perfect game unfolded, or, the call, I guess that was, is now one of the biggest blemishes. And I think the biggest eyesore for the major league for not having replay, considering that it was in this, on the other side of the 2000s. So obviously replay was widely available. At the time, you could only use replay for home runs. You could only use replay when it was questionable if it was like a double or a home run or fan interference. And so this came down to the human, part of it. And unfortunately for Jim Joyce, he was on the wrong side of history here. So this was a game between the Cleveland Indians and the Detroit Tigers. This is known as the 28 out perfect game. In baseball, there's 27 outs. So the call out there is the fact that he had to pitch one extra out, even though this is clearly out. And ESPN did an incredible documentary on it for everybody involved. They did profiles and sit downs with Galarraga, with Luke Donald, and then of course with Jim Joyce, who was beside himself when he realized that he blew the call. It was quite a spectacle. And I watched it back, and I remember the worst call in sports history. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look. Here's the play that should have been the perfect game right here.
Ground ball, right side. Cabrera will cut it off. Galarraga covers. He's out. No, he's safe. He is safe. He is safe at first base.
Why is he safe?
You see right here.
He's out. He's
Why
out.
is he safe? Oh my goodness, Jim Joyce, no.
Oh my goodness, Jim Joyce, no. So I will throw up the video because ESPN did an incredible profile on this. And my recollection of this was the humility and like the forgiveness and kind of the sportsmanship and the professionalism that he displayed after the fact, because obviously this is Jim Joyce's darkest hour. And as an umpire for 30 years, for his entire, umpire career, which, I don't know how you want to be remembered as an umpire. It's probably a good thing to not be remembered as an umpire. That means you probably had nothing, like no controversy like this. But Armando, play this little clip, was just a class act. Just one of the most stoic and graceful ways to make peace with this that, I don't know if I don't think I'm capable of this.
You're going to give you the lineup card. So soon he go to the field, you're going to pop up. People booing, but they don't boo it anymore because they see me walking in the field.
I couldn't even see. I mean, I had tears coming out of my eyes. I was a mess.
Behind the plate for today's game is Jim Joyce.
I can't even tell you who the lineup card. I couldn't tell you who the pitchers were because I couldn't see. he patted me on the shoulder, and it was amazing.
That is the best thing that Jim Leland did. And I'm really thankful for that.
After that, it was just baseball. I just worked that game, and I couldn't have been more happy to get out of Dodge than that day.
The sportsmanship displayed that day quickly became as symbolic as the missed call. But it wasn't sufficient closure for Jim Joyce.
I actually called the front office and I said, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I'm willing to do anything to have the call changed to a perfect game.
Wow. So give it a look. Give it a rate. I gave it a 9.0 for 9 innings. Felt it was appropriate. I thought it was a little hard actually at first to rate it because, it's not a perfect game, but still will go down in baseball history. All right, folks, let us land the proverbial plane and check out this evening's slate. I know that we got our New York Knicks back in action. Got a ton of baseball, afternoon ball. Mets can make it 2 in a row, folks. Incredible. Back. Don't let us get hot, as they say. Knicks and Hawks tonight from Atlanta. That should be interesting. Ooh, playoffs in Toronto. Flame, first time in a minute. Got to be happy about that. And we also, I'll give you guys the pick there. I'll give you guys some home cooking. And then we got T-Wolves. We got Joker going to Minnesota. That should be a doozy. Ooh, we got Buffalo and Boston's. And we got Sox and Yankees. Yankees are absolutely handling the Red Sox. Red Sox are just not a good baseball team, though, folks. So they're just not good this year. Unfortunately, neither are the Mets. So I can say that with confidence. Takes one to know one. All right. Today is Thursday. There's 49 days left until the World Cup. Tomorrow is Friday, which means the final 48. We are within 48 days tomorrow, starting tomorrow, our final march, our final procession to the kickoff of the 2026 World Cup. And very excited to kick off a recurring segment that will start tomorrow and end on June 11th. And it will feature, starting tomorrow, a new country, a new World Cup team, a new participant, so that by the time June 11th rolls around, we will have profiled and showcased and learned, most importantly, about a new country and their World Cup team and their history, where they came from, how they got here, what to expect, what kind of players they have on the team today, what kind of style they play, what group they're in, who their opponents are, what we can expect. So the idea and the goal is for us to be more educated than we were before, so that when June 11th rolls around, we'll have knowledge and, it'll just make it that more fun. You might say, oh yeah, I remember that. I recognize that because we covered it on the final 48. So each day, new country, we'll spin the globe and we'll learn together. So I'm very excited. I was showing my producer last night what it's going to look like. She was excited. So tune in tomorrow, final 48. Kicks off a new segment. That is our show today. It's a great day to rate games. My name is Nick Mark George. Same time tomorrow, same place.